Coffee with Kim presents Hearts to Healing. When we are little children, as we grow up, we look to those who are around us for our experience of what love and healing looks like. It is different for all of us, yet we so desperately need it and not always get it. We are at a time in the world where our need for love, connection, and healing is at an all-time high. Sarah and Ken come to you not as experts, but as humans where love, belonging, and healing is experienced, bringing two generations with different points of view and where we are so similar, where we can get the hard conversations started and love and healing can begin. Welcome to Coffee with Kim's Hearts to Healing. Welcome to today's Coffee with Kim. We are in our Hearts to Healing episode today. I am really excited to bring my daughter Sarah on today because as parents, either you may have experienced it or, I have experienced it where you have these little children and you see them and you want them to have the best. You want them to go and do great things and you have these dreams and aspirations for them. And I think as you get older and as parents we get older, we are not always, things don't always happen as we think they should or what. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
So you and I were having a conversation the other day and we thought, oh my gosh, in the middle of this would be a great episode.
Yeah.
So kind of explain a little bit to everyone what happened the other day, and then we got into this whole discussion.
We were, just talking, and then we were like, oh, this would be a really good episode. Basically speaking on how, as parents, we have so much love for, or you have so much love for your children, right? And you just want the world for them. So anything that they say when they're younger, till you want to be able to provide for them. But what we discuss is like how much I have evolved and you have evolved and grown, right, since then, and how we're constantly just these changing beings and how we don't really stop to listen to those changes. And we kind of still push for how we were maybe in the past, when in reality, we're a new person than we were, a year, month, two, whatever it might be. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we were talking about, being married 35 years, right? And a few years ago, Mark, your dad was like, oh, well, I can't remember, we were doing something, or he got me something. And I was like, yeah, maybe 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. Right. And you were like, I said, well, I thought you wanted this, Sarah. I thought you liked to do this. And you're like, Mom, that was a while ago. Things have changed. Mm-hmm. Things have evolved. And I think it's a really important conversation for parents and children to start having, right?
Mm-hmm.
You weren't sure you wanted to do marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you did it, and you're like, oh, I can always change. And then what did you tell me the other day? You're like, as
we all do, we jump the gun, we speak too soon, or we experience these different events or experiences in life that kind of either reawaken that part of ourselves or kind of help mesh and change a little bit. So yeah, I went to these classes, for marketing, and I was like, wow, this is definitely, it was weird. The best way to describe it to, I don't know if I described it to you, but I described it to my boyfriend, but Matt, it was like a euphoric feeling. I got chills because I just felt like this was officially what I wanted to do in my adulthood, right? And I have been scared for so long because I'm like, as we all do, as we all get, even at any age. But I was like, wow, I don't want to regret anything. I don't want to. It's that woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of. And I was going through that, and I just stopped and I was present in my classes, and I was like, just got so emotional And it just felt amazing. And I was really excited because now I kind of know where I kind of want to go from here. And you and I talked about that, and it's something that, it's further discussion down the road. But yeah, it's something that is exciting and can evolve into something, a great. And
yeah. So how was it that we were able to get to this part, right? We talked about the importance of communication, because as parents, sometimes our kids can say something to us and it triggers, right?
Yeah.
And if we had not practiced, in the past, I felt that trigger come up.
Yep.
And then I was like, wait a minute, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's talk, like you said, further talking about it, whether it be taking a different angle, whether it be going on to graduate school, whether it be working or internships, and all these options and possibilities for a young person.
Yeah.
And instead, it was like me taking it back and saying, okay, there's a lot of options here.
Yeah.
Let's walk through it.
Yeah, I felt good that you stopped and you were like, you know what? Exactly. Let's walk through it. You realize that there's options and we can assess them. And it felt amazing because I was like, wow, my parent is like listening to me and listening to what I want. And it's, there's lots of parents who you can express these dreams and these aspirations to them, and they almost like kind of crush them a little bit, or they are like, oh, be realistic, come on, and I've never gotten that from you. And I'm known, and that's something we can always work on. So when we had the first reaction, I was like, wait, time out. I got defensive, and we just stopped for a second and we're like, okay, like let's kind of rewind a little bit and see what, both of us kind of did. And it felt amazing because I was like, wow, I felt like you were really invested. And yeah, it felt good.
Yeah. See, everybody, this is where, my daughter gets it from me too. But it's because we care so much, and we love each other so much. And there's a great deal of respect that happens, and it doesn't happen overnight.
That's the word right there, respect. Because, as a parent, you want respect from your child, but as a child, you want respect from your parent as well. And I know a lot of people who don't get that respect from their parent. And it's tough. It's tough when you don't have that in a parent-child relationship, especially when I've entered a early adulthood, and you had experience in life, right? And that is really important as you carry on, seeing a parent, or as a parent, realizing, wow, my child is older, they're still my child and I still love them, but there is a different respect that you kind of have to carry into this new relationship as it's gotten, progressively
it evolves, just like like the title we talked about. It evolves, and those relationships, we have to grow with these. If you want the kind of relationship that you want to have with your children, you have to be able to listen. You have to be able to not trigger and react.
Yeah, and it's super easy to do that, which I understand, right?
Yeah,
too well
on both sides.
Yep.
Right. And so if a parent is out there listening and they're like, how did you guys get here?
Honesty, which comes with communication, right? But I think as a parent, you try to be as honest with your kid as possible, but you've taught to kind of, it's societal, and it's true. You've taught to lie to your child, right? To protect them from the world. And as we get older, we're taught to kind of lie, to keep things from our parents. And so a lot of miscommunication and dishonesty, right, comes within that relationship. And I mean, if it was a romantic relationship, that would cause a lot of issues, right? And so but we normalize it as a parent-child relationship, that's okay. And I get it for some things like that are private and you don't want to share. I get it, but in the bigger picture, right? Learning that being honest with each other and sharing the honesty, communicating the honesty is probably the most important, in my opinion.
I also think another really important thing is never giving up.
Yeah, being persistent with it,
because I've seen so many times where, we haven't communicated the best, right? Yeah. We've hit, the roadblocks and those things. And, if you have the mindset or the intention that this is the way it's always going to be, so I'm going to give up and not do it again.
Yep.
Which a lot of people do. We do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easier.
Yeah. And we don't have to be hurt. We don't have to be vulnerable. We don't have to,
Yeah. I mean, I do understand that there's a difference between toxic and when it's just, it's something that is a whole different creature. And there's just stuff that we've been ingrained with, as a parent and as a child, and what we think is okay or what we thought has been okay. Right. Like you said, and realizing that it's not a toxic relationship and that it's just, like you said, we just got to be consistent and persistent with it and wanting to better that relationship. And when toxic is when it's one-sided, that's just really unhealthy, and it could be the other side, but like when we both want to work at the relationship, that's when it blossoms.
And I think a lot of it has to do with intention, right? If I come to you and I'm saying, hey, I'm struggling with the communication with you.
Yep.
And I need to figure out with you how to better do that, right? Yeah. It's okay for us to do that with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at the same time, you have to be able to be willing to say, okay.
Yep. My responsibility, right? Just because a parent's going to get on to me about something and I take offense to it, I'm the one reacting. I'm the one not taking a second and being like, all right, how can I, respond? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like how you use the word respond, right? And if the more we learn how to respond rather than being that trigger reaction, I think our relationships have definitely improved as a result of that.
Yep.
And I'm not coming here saying I'm the expert at it. I've just have had a lot of practice, and you're my youngest, right?
Yeah, which I was actually talking about this, not with you the other day, but just every child, right, when you have multiple children, have a role in that mentality, right? The youngest child syndrome, oldest child syndrome, middle, whatever it might be. But I will say, as the youngest child, like, yes, I do see a lot of things and learn quickly. But that's because I chose to. Not all younger children are going to be like that.
Yeah, you chose to be aware. You chose to be observant.
Yeah.
And as a reaction, as a
result,
right? This is where we've gotten to be. Plus, you and I spent probably a lot of time on the road together too. So
a lot of time, but that relationship was even different than it is now. Because I was a child, I was an adult, and I had a lot of different aspirations at that time, right? Yeah. And I didn't allow myself that room to grow, because as a kid, you're so influenced by everyone around you, especially your parents. And as I got older and became adult, I realized that I really did have a mind of my own. It was like, wow, it's a bit of a shell shock. Because it's so many feelings, and you're like, there's no way that I can, but yeah.
No, I'm really proud and love, who you're becoming. I love the relationships that I have with you and with, with my other children, in that communication.
Yeah.
So, gosh, what other some things? I'm making sure that we've gotten through all of our little notes. I think it's sometimes hard for us as parents to see the growth
of their child or of themselves.
Both.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
there's times that I mean, I live with you. I have the privilege, and it truly is a privilege of still having you live with us, as other children are as well, but their parents. But because of that, sometimes we're there every day, all day, and we don't see it.
Yeah, we don't see it. We take advantage of it a lot because one day, and it's so sad to think about and say, I am going to be moved out. And that thought and that feeling is so strange and weird because I see you guys every day. And I don't take
it for granted sometimes. Both of us.
Yeah, we take it for granted because it's like when I'm gone and you guys are going to be, I mean, one day you will be officially empty nesters. I don't know, but like, your children just keep on wanting to come back because we love you so much. But I haven't really gotten to experience that where I've lived away, and I just know that once I do, it probably will be permanent just because, of stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to stay at home as long as I can. But yeah, I realize now that I've that's gonna happen one day. You'll see it. I'll start just doing dishes randomly or stuff because I'm like I'm not gonna be able to be here to really do that for you guys, and I need to learn to take care of my own stuff. And
No, but I've appreciated that about you. Anything else you can think of that that's been happening out in the world lately? People that you've talked to?
I don't think other people realize that, as we get older, our parents get older, right? And that's been something that's been a little bit of a shock to me because I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, I'm involved in my own life, right? In my own, aging process and what I want to do, that I don't stop to take a moment to be like, my parents are also getting older as well. And not to make it so dreary, because it's awesome being able to get to the point where you and dad are at and still have your health. That's amazing. But I don't realize that sometimes that, as I'm getting older, you guys are going to get older. And I want to appreciate you guys as much as I can and respect you guys as much as much as I can, even though sometimes I might be a little bit in my own way, be a little bit of a, stinker to you guys. I try my best.
No, I think you do a great job. I think there's just so much pressure, and I want parents to understand that when your kids are in college, right? I get to see firsthand that the amount of pressure.
Yeah. That makes me just like scratch my head. I'm like, why do I want to go to graduate school? But at the same time, I love that challenge, and I love that. I'm that person that always pushes myself, and so I always want to strive for something bigger and greater than myself. But yeah, it is very difficult, and I'm love that you guys see that, because I feel like most parents aren't very understanding in that area. They're like, why aren't you doing it? It's a lot, right?
Yeah, I think there is a lot that's going on, whether you're even in college. I mean, just I'm even watching our your nieces and nephews, and they're going to school, and we have.
It's tough for them.
It's tough for them. I mean, just the whole shutdown stuff and the mask stuff and all these things that you guys didn't have to deal with when you were young.
Yeah. Yep. It's definitely difficult, whether you're in college or not. I think just life in general, it's very hard to live, right, and go through this life, and it's a privilege to get to.
It is that, but I love that you said that. Yeah, but I also think that sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and we create some of that hardness, right?
Yep.
Where we can take a step back. I mean, I saw you doing that at the end when you were doing your finals.
Yesterday. Oh yeah, that too. But
you took a step back, and you're like, hey, I can either choose to be stressful. Okay, we'll talk about yesterday,
Yeah.
Or I can choose to just let it go.
I've boiled it down. It's the pressure that but in that moment that I put on myself, right? It's not even the material. At the end of the day, my brain can soak it up if it really wants to, right? But as soon as I let that pressure, some people call it anxiety, whatever it might be, they let it seep in and get really deep and fester. And that causes a lot of shutdown. In that area. Like yesterday, I was getting so frustrated at one of my class assignments because it just made no sense. It wasn't very helpful. The teacher wasn't seeming to be very helpful. And instead of getting mad, but I had some reassurance and some, as in like kind of reminder to like calm down. I do not like that word, but to just take a breath, right? And to realize where I was and to be present. Once I realized that this thing was causing me to react in a way I didn't need to, I just left it alone. I was like, I'm gonna walk away from it for a second, enjoy myself. And when I came back to it, I was like, still don't understand it, so I'm going to just email the teacher, whatever it might be, or go a different route.
Taking those step backs and those breaths, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's anxiety, there's overwhelm, there's shutdown, whatever it is, right? I've experienced that in the last few weeks just with all the sickness and illness that we've had, in the house. And I'm the first one to start putting the pressure on myself. And then I'm learning, I'm practicing. I love the word practice, right? I'm practicing to take that breath, to take that step back and say, okay, what's another way of looking at it? What's another way of doing it? Even just doing this today, we're recording this because we were going to do a live, but just the way some things have happened. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just take the gas. What's the pressure? The gas.
Take your foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah. And just say, okay, what's another way of doing this?
Yeah.
So getting it done.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And we did. And when you told me that this morning, did you just see the relief I had?
Yes.
I was stressed to do this show with you because, it's not that I don't want to do it with you. It's just I get in my own head, right? And I let myself bother me. And so when you told me that, I was like, oh, cool, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we could do that, and once you told me we could, it was really nice.
Yeah. So, nope. I love doing it. I do like to do lives, but sometimes doing these recordings is really nice too, because then I can tweak and do some fun things with it. So
exactly. Any great show has editing to it.
Yeah. So I appreciate you, and I'm grateful for you because I do get to learn from you. And parents, whether you believe it or not, you are learning from your children. And I want children to remember too that you don't come with an instruction booklet.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard me say that in your life?
We all have our own individuality. No child can be, here's a book about me. No.
And like you said, there's a constant evolution and change.
Yeah.
And with whether it's, parent and child, but we're talking here, or any type of your relationships. I talked at the beginning about, my husband thinking I still like something that was,
you did 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It gave me a wake up too, that he also is changing.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing, when we allow each other to change and to grow, it just makes for magic.
Yeah, I agree. I love you.
I love you too.
So much. Thank you for letting me be on here with you again today.
Yeah, thank you. It is my honor, and for us to have this is, I think we'll look back and it'll be a great, great thing. And I'm hoping, and I really want to encourage anyone that's watching, if you're getting something out of this, please make comments, right? What you get out of it. If you want another topic for us to cover, I mean, there's a vault of of lifetime between Sarah and I of topics that we could come up with. But if you could help us out, it would be awesome. So,
yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, just you're amazing. That's all.
Well, thank you, everyone. You guys have a great rest of your day. Like I said, please like and subscribe on the YouTube channel if you would. It allows more people to see and be able to get something out of this as well. So, you guys have a great rest of your day.